What's up, guys? Coming at you with the second podcast of Nerdy and 30. Instead of Justin and I, it will actually be me and my cousin Ryan, who was on the first episode of Does It Hold Up With Me? Say hi, Ryan.
Hey guys, what's going on?
So today we're going to be talking about the state of Star Wars. And we saw The Last Jedi together.
Yeah,
We've seen just about every Star Wars movie together, I think, over the course of our lives, except for Solo,
that's true. I haven't seen Solo yet.
and I haven't seen Solo yet
Yeah,
either.
so we've seen every Star Wars movie but Solo so far.
And I think that might actually be a reflection of the state of Star Wars, the fact that me and you are both Star Wars fanatics growing up our entire lives, and we didn't even go see Solo.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
don't think anyone saw Solo,
You know the thing.
and that's why it's flopping.
The thing though, I actually heard they did Solo like original trilogy justice. They tried to give it like a almost like a nostalgic feel to it.
See, I heard the opposite. I heard it was shoehorned in Easter eggs. Like, instead of Han Solo's name literally just being Han Solo, he was signing up for the Imperial army, and they're like, "So your name's Han?" And they're like, "Do you have a people?" And he said, "No." He's like, "Oh, so you're by yourself? You're Han Solo?"
That is kind
They
of
might as well just looked at the camera and been like,
right. It's almost
like
like
a Family Guy.
it's like they're trying to make Han Solo Star-Lord almost.
No, but they feel like they have to literally explain every single thing in the Star Wars universe, like from the original trilogy, and some things don't need to be explained.
No, they're placeholders at this point. Everybody knows what they are.
So the ultimate question is, and we're going to talk about it, but I mean, we don't. I mean, we can circle back to the prequels and we can circle back to the original trilogy, obviously, but basically, we're talking about is Disney ruining Star Wars?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously, George Lucas, we have a love-hate relationship with George, and I think George knows that because that's why he sold Star Wars, and that's why he didn't want to do a lot of things later, because, the original trilogy, everyone loved him for it, and the prequels, I think he took a lot of that criticism personally.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have took it personally, but, recently I was watching, um, behind the scenes footage of the Indiana Jones movies, and even not necessarily just Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but like even Last Crusade stuff, and every terrible idea that they didn't do in the original trilogy and every terrible idea they did do in Crystal Skull was George's idea.
I can actually see that. I actually found out something about Return of the Jedi I did not know. There was supposed to be an alternate ending where after Darth Vader died, Luke Skywalker was supposed to take up Darth Vader's helmet and then put it on.
Oh, for
And
God's...
he was supposed to be the new Darth Vader. But then
That would've been horrible.
everybody on the movie said no, we're not doing it. And George Lucas is like, well, I thought it might be a good idea, but it was instantly pitched. Everybody said that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
George came up with a good idea in the 70s about this universe, but ever since then, I feel like every bad idea until he sold it to Disney came straight from him.
Yeah,
and
really
some
did.
people, and during the prequels, no one had the guts or the authority to tell him no because he owned it. Whereas in the original trilogy, it was just going, or like with Indiana Jones, Steven Spielberg would be like, "No, George."
Yeah, we're not doing that. No.
No, well, and
George.
I think Crystal Skull, Steven just like didn't care. Like there was a scene where, so apparently the beginning scene where Indy survives a nuclear bomb in a trunk, or whatever.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's one of the stupidest things I've ever
Steven
seen.
Spielberg was like, "Oh, that was George's idea," and he was just like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Like he just didn't care. Like,
oh my God.
I don't know. So, and obviously George sold it to Disney for $4 billion. I think George saw the writing on the wall in that Star Wars was kind of played out. I felt like it was done. It shouldn't need, and then Disney just saw a cash cow.
Oh no, Disney's going to be milking this for another 80 years probably. We're going to be seeing Star Wars movies forever, and they're just going to keep getting worse and worse and worse, I feel like.
So, I mean, Clone Wars came out before he sold it to Disney. Have you watched that show?
I don't really. I'm not a big fan of that show.
You're not a big fan of it?
No,
Have you seen it?
I've seen it. I just don't like the animation too much.
How many episodes have you seen?
I don't know, like two or three.
Oh, two or three. I see. I've seen about the same, and I was just like, eh. And then, have you seen Star Wars Rebels?
Yeah, I've
Do you
seen.
like Rebels?
I liked Rebels a little more than Clone Wars, but
I
uh,
heard they kind of delve into like Darth Maul after Episode One.
yeah, they did. That was actually kind of. I mean, it was different, but
You know, Darth Maul's in Solo, right?
yeah, I know. I
With
already
his
know that.
robot
I know the
legs.
twist ending and
And
everything.
he had to turn on his lightsaber just so he could let the stupid people in the theater know that was Darth Maul.
Oh, it's Darth
He was
Maul.
in a video chat with the girl, and he turned on his lightsaber. Why?
I don't know. That was
Okay,
really
so
weird.
I mean, ultimately, we saw The Force Awakens together, and we both. I think you liked it more than me, and then when we saw The Last Jedi, I liked it more than you.
Yeah, you definitely liked Last Jedi more than me.
Whereas we haven't really talked about it since. I've watched The Last Jedi since, and I've thought about it, and I hate it.
I'm
I
glad you actually
I
do now.
I liked it when I first saw it because it was different, but then when I thought about why it was different, I hated it. Like I told you I liked it like the night we saw
Yeah,
it.
you did. You're like, I think it's actually interesting, and I'm just like, I had to think about it, and I'm like, I watched it at home on Netflix, and I hated it even more
I
at
hate it.
Netflix.
I hate it more and more every time I watch it. And I actually hate Force Awakens more every time I watch it.
Oh no, I hate
There
Force Awakens now too.
See, I don't well, I hate it more and more, but I don't want to say I hate Force Awakens. Force Awakens is not a terrible movie. Like if you compare to the prequels, it's a solid movie, but there are parts in the fact that Force Awakens is copy for copy of A New Hope is annoying, and everybody knows that at this point.
Hmm.
But there are some dumb scenes in Force Awakens, and frankly, Harrison Ford mailed it in his performance. Carrie Fisher sounds like she had a stroke. I mean, that sounds horrible because she's dead now,
Yeah.
but you can barely understand what she's saying in either one of the movies. And then that whole scene, the whole fact, the whole storyline just doesn't make sense. And J.J. Abrams pisses me off. Like, before Force Awakens would have been the more interesting storyline. How the First Order took power, how Ben Solo drifted from the Force, the Knights of Ren, all that stuff would have been more interesting than the storyline we got now. And two, it's like it doesn't even make sense to call them the rebellion because the Republic was in power, so they wouldn't be the rebellion. The First Order would technically be the rebellion.
It's extremely confusing. I'm still pissed off about Snoke.
And then the whole scene with that like octopus thing on. Remember when in Force Awakens when Han Solo?
Yeah,
That was
the
horrible.
octopus ball monster.
Yeah, that was so stupid.
Mm.
That was really, really
I thought the CGI effects for that monster were terrible.
terrible for a Star Wars
They
movie.
they just stuck out like a. It was more like an episode. They were like episode one graphics.
Yeah, yeah, and Last Jedi, the graphics in Last Jedi are fine. The acting in Last Jedi actually I thought was okay. The main problem with The Last Jedi is it makes no fucking sense and it's stupid, the twist and everything. The more I think about it, like when we left the theater I was like, "Oh, that was cool because it was different. It was unexpected."
Yeah.
My mouth was literally on the floor when Snoke got cut in half. But then when I thought about it, I'm like, why set him up for a movie and a half and then just cut him in half and not explain anything? That's so fucking stupid.
It is. It makes absolutely no sense. I just don't like.
And he looked like freaking Hugh Hefner in his stupid little gold robe. Like I want my Sith to be in black. Excuse me.
Well, technically, he. I don't think he was a Sith, but he was pretty lame, honestly, as a character. Just overall, I thought.
Yeah, it was just if you would have. I know it's fan theory and you'd be caving into fan theory, but if you would have made him Plagueis, That would have been awesome.
It would have made more sense.
It
But
would have made a lot more
what
sense.
I don't like with these new Star Wars movies is that they don't explore the kind of like the state of the galaxy or like the mythos or anything
No,
like
they're just retreading dumb shit.
the original trilogy and even the prequel trilogy. They went into depth. We knew what like what was going on in the universe. We knew what the characters were going on. These 7, 8, and 9, they don't really explain anything. They're just like, oh, it's Star Wars. That's all you need to know. Walk into the movie theater, it's Star Wars. You've seen it before a million
Yeah,
times.
and that's kind of what Disney's trying to do. It's just like, hey, it's Star Wars, so you have to go see it. All you Star Wars fans, you have to see it. I'm like, well, we're not sheep. Like, neither one of us saw Solo. And to be
No,
honest, I'm actually thinking about not going to see Episode 9 in the theaters.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to pay money to see it anyway. I'll wait till it's on Netflix.
And that's freaking sad.
That is sad.
Because I saw all 3 special editions in the theater. I saw
Same.
all 3 prequels in the theater
Yep.
multiple times.
Yep.
The only prequel I saw once in the theater was Episode 1. Episode 2, which is the worst Star Wars movie, I saw 3 times in the theater. But I was like 13 or 14 at the time, so
Right.
you're like, yeah. Even at then, I was like, the dialogue's bad. But I was like, did you see the fight scene at the end? And now I think about it, it's dumb. But just so many things in The Last Jedi just turned me off. Honestly, Rian Johnson killed Star Wars.
Yeah, I do not like. I do not like
George
him.
Lucas injured Star Wars with the prequel, but it wasn't dead.
Rian Johnson almost killed it. I thought he was.
Not almost. I think he has killed it.
I thought he was.
Because we've been the biggest Star Wars fans our whole life, and now I'm so disinterested in Star Wars, it's not
Well,
even
he's
funny.
he comes off. He has a very arrogant personality. He does not care about the fans at all. He actually went on Twitter and he said your Snoke theory sucks. So he's like, all your fan theories are stupid.
Well, your stupid Your Mama jokes in the Star Wars movies suck.
Yeah, they are.
Or just all the comedy in it. It felt like a Marvel movie, but the difference is Marvel movies are self-aware. They know they're kind of silly.
Yeah.
Especially like Ragnarok. Look how silly Ragnarok was.
And it was
But
amazing.
and it was great. But and that like Taika Waititi, he's like, somebody said to him, like, your movie's almost like a comedy. It's supposed to be a Marvel movie. He's like, you know what? You know why it's almost like a comedy? Because it is a comedy. He's like, it's about a Norse god and his brother traveling through the universe, getting stuck on a trash planet and stuff like that. It's just dumb. The storyline's dumb. So you just have to take it, with a grain of salt. But the difference is Star Wars has never been silly.
No.
The prequels were silly, but it was unintentionally silly.
Right.
It wasn't trying to be silly. It was trying to be serious. It was just silly.
The
But
only-
like the original trilogy, there's no goofy parts in the original trilogy.
I will correct you on that. Return of the Jedi is the one time where they actually got a little goofy with the Ewoks. But that's it.
What part?
Oh, the part where Wicket was throwing the rock.
Either?
He was throwing the rock in
and
the
it hit
air
him
and
in
it
the
hit him in the
head.
face. That was
Yeah.
kind of cheesy comedy right there.
Yeah, but
Or-
it's not a Your Mama joke.
No, it's not. It's like that. I think that's a pass. That's like almost like
But
an
that's
innocent
one
sin,
joke
but-
in 3 movies, whereas Last Jedi had 100 jokes in 2 hours.
Right.
It's so like the thing that bothered me the most, like the Snoke thing. My jaw was on the floor and it was unexpected, but when I thought about it was dumb. But one thing in the theater that I saw and literally was freaking stupid from the moment I saw it, not just the casino scene, because the casino scene was literally straight out of the prequels, but the fact that Rose crashed her ship into, what's his face?
Finn.
Finn. She crashed the ship into Finn's ship to save him from sacrificing himself.
But they were all going to die anyway because they were being
but
attacked.
she could have killed him and her by crashing her ship into his, which she didn't think about. And then she's like trying to kiss him while the laser blows up the base and almost probably kills all of them.
Well, what do you expect? It's a Disney movie.
They would have been the only 2 left.
Right.
And the fact that they killed Luke in this movie, I'm so
I still don't
pissed.
understand how Luke died from a Jedi mind trick. It was a giant Jedi
I guess
mind
he
trick that he
became
did.
one with the Force and he expended all of his energy or whatever. But
Such a letdown.
in Force Awakens, you build up Luke. You build up Luke in Force Awakens, and we've had Luke build up since 1983 with Return of the Jedi. and he's in the movie for 15 fucking minutes, and he's stupid drinking blue milk and dumb shit, and then he kills himself, and it's so dumb. It's like we wanted this epicness from Luke, and it's like Rian Johnson's like, ha, got ya. I'm gonna kill him. It's just like, fuck you, Ryan.
Oh man.
It's and the whole light speed as a weapon thing, and the whole dropping bombs from bombers. Isn't that what fucking Y-wings are? Aren't they supposed to be the bombers?
What are even the ships now? They don't even explain them in these movies. That they're all supposed to be
But
different.
Y-wings in the original trilogy were the bombers.
No, you're right. Y-wings were the bombers.
Why didn't you use Y-wings then? Where are the X-wings are still there?
Yeah.
Because Poe's flying an X-wing, so where are the Y-wings?
That's
why use bombers that can't even move? They literally were moving like 2 miles an hour, and then you can't. Like when you dropped bombs in the original trilogy, at least they had propulsion on the bombs. Like these bombs literally fell, but there's no fucking gravity in space.
You ever think about?
I mean, Star Wars movies aren't supposed to make perfect sense. I get that, but that just was like spitting in your face, not making sense.
Right, it really was. And I don't understand why both armies are like so small when you think about it. The First Order's like 2 Star Destroyers, and the Resistance is like 1 ship. And is this supposed to be a war?
Where'd the First Order get all this shit from?
I have no idea. They haven't explained shit in this movie.
One thing that makes me mad is at the end of the movie, everyone's like super happy and hugging each other. But at the beginning of the movie, there was like 400 Resistance fighters, and at the end, there's like 10, and they're all like smiling and hugging each other. Everyone just died, and you think it's freaking funny and like, let's have a party. Like at the end of Empire Strikes Back, it wasn't happy.
No.
If you remember.
It wasn't. And this is actually, if you think about it, probably the grimmest ending in a Star Wars movie since there's like no hope left.
This is the grimmest ending in a Star Wars movie. Luke's gone. The Resistance is 10 people, and the First Order is as strong as ever, and they're all like smiling, and they're on the Falcon with 10 people, and everybody else is dead. What? And what do we have to look forward to in Episode 9? Nothing. And now J.J. Abrams like, oh shit, I gotta fix this. But J.J. Abrams is not good at ending anything. He set up the Star Trek universe, he set up Star Wars universe, he set up Lost, but Lost ending sucked. Star Trek didn't end. He's never ended anything well. He's not. Episode 9's gonna suck balls. Seriously.
Do you think this might actually be one of the worst movie trilogies of all time? 7, 8, and 9?
Yes.
I think so too.
Of all time?
When I say
no.
What I meant to say
look
is
at
like
Transformers and shit. These are better than
Does
Transformers.
that even count as a trilogy? I think that's like a 5-movie
set. A series is what I'm saying. It's not going to be the worst, but honestly, the prequels are terrible. The scripts are bad and stuff like that, but at least the prequels explain stuff and they have an in-depth story. Yeah, they're goofy and stuff like that.
I felt like they still stayed true to the original Star Wars spirit, the prequels.
They did stay true to the spirit. They just, the scripts were bad and the direction was bad.
Yeah.
And, they had, if you asked me, if you gave me episode 1, 2, and 3 or episode 7 and 8 and said, you have to watch one group, which one would you watch? I would watch 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
That's freaking sad. Because the prequels were garbage, but they're better than these. And Star Wars is dead, I feel like.
I felt like, Star Wars.
Episode 9 would have to be. It's almost impossible, I feel like, to live up to the original trilogy at this point, too, because not only were they good, but they're also nostalgic. So I feel like none of these new ones are ever going to live up to it. But they're also Disney's whoring out Star Wars like it's a freaking prostitute.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to one movie every 3 years? They're coming out with a movie every 6 months at this point.
I felt like Star Wars was already dead, and Disney has basically just dug it up and reanimated its corpse and put it on display.
The only new movie that I actually enjoyed was Rogue One.
Yeah,
Rogue One
was really good.
Rogue One was different, and it was solid. Honestly, Rogue One is my 4th favorite Star Wars movie. Outside the original trilogy, it's my favorite one.
Rogue One is it's better than every prequel trilogy, and
And with the reshoots, it's surprising because they had a lot of reshoots on it, which normally when you have reshoots on a movie, that's not a good sign. That means it's a bad movie and they're trying to fix it. But some parts, Rogue One was not perfect by any means, and it's not better than any of the original trilogy, even Jedi. But um, it's the best out of the new ones, and that includes the prequels. But honestly, after Rogue One, I'd probably go with Revenge of the Sith.
yeah, I would too.
That's so bad.
Yeah,
Because Revenge of the Sith is.
I still like it. Even nowadays, I still like Revenge of the
You
Sith.
will try.
I mean, of course, it's
No. I mean, it's just so
Anakin.
dumb.
I have the high ground.
Yeah. It's just. It's so depressing. Because I love the original trilogy so much. And, I mean, everybody does, but.
What I think is really depressing is you can't even buy the original unaltered trilogy on DVD anymore.
You haven't been able to.
I know.
Since, like, 1997.
It's sad.
I have the original unaltered on VHS, but that's it. And the special edition almost has ruined Jedi for me. I can't watch Jedi with that stupid musical scene in Jabba's palace. That is one of the worst things
Oh no, it is
in a Star Wars movie, period.
I just fast forward through it. I really do.
I just don't watch Jedi for the
Yeah.
most part. I usually, and my rankings have changed.
Oh really?
Even of the original trilogy. I used to say Empire Jedi, then A New Hope. Now I'm definitely Empire A New Hope Jedi.
Huh.
I like A New Hope better than Jedi now, by
Hmm.
far.
I'd probably still go with Empire, Jedi, New Hope, and then Rogue One. Then Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, okay, so what's after Revenge of the Sith?
Oh.
I would probably say
I,
we have to rank them. Well, you might as well do this on the podcast.
Alright.
So, me and you still disagree, and so I'm Empire A New Hope Jedi. You're Empire Jedi A New Hope. We're both Rogue One 4.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both Revenge of the Sith 5. So what is the 6? I would say
I'm gonna have to go.
we haven't seen Solo, so we can't rank Solo. I would say The Force Awakens.
No, I'm gonna go with Attack of the Clones. I'm going right to Attack of the Clones. I'm not even gonna include 7 or 8 in my
Yeah,
top
you have
list.
to. No, you have to.
They're
Come on.
they're in my bottom.
Well, we're doing the list, so you have to. So what's number 6? I say Force Awakens.
I say Attack of the Clones.
Okay. So what's 7? 7 for me would be The Phantom Menace.
I would agree. Yeah, 7's Phantom Menace for me
8
too.
for me would be Attack of the Clones.
For me, I would think Force Awakens.
And both of our bottom is Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Last Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie ever made.
Yeah.
That's freaking pathetic because it probably has the best special effects.
And it's the longest.
It's the longest by far. It has solid acting. It's just the story is so awful.
Terrible.
It's awful. Did you notice that we had fake Yoda?
Fake Yoda.
Do you remember in Empire when Yoda was acting all crazy and then Luke says, I'm looking for Jedi Master, and then all of a sudden he acts serious?
Yeah.
You notice that in Last Jedi he was acting crazy? That's not real Yoda, that was fake Yoda. He was just doing that to hide his identity. But then he was acting crazy for no reason. It didn't even make sense. If I was Luke, I would have been like, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting like this?
Right.
You ever notice that? And you notice that Luke didn't interact with any of the other people. You got the original characters from the original trilogy together, and none of them even had a fucking scene together. Leia and Luke had a little smirk with each other, and that was it.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the three, and then Han and Leia had a little bit in Force Awakens. But Luke and Han never even were in a scene together. How lame is that?
That is pretty lame. Luke and R2 had a little moment.
Yeah, I just would have loved to see like Luke and Han be like, "Hey, we're even."
That
You know what
would
I
have been
mean?
pretty good.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah,
Nothing.
that does kind of suck. It
They
really is
and
depressing.
it's too late. You can't fix it now unless you literally remake them.
Yeah, that's
It's too late.
yeah. So
It's
that's
too late to bring Luke back. I guess J.J. Abrams said that Luke's going to be in Episode 9, but he's going to be a Force Ghost. Who fucking cares at this point?
yeah. In my mind, 7, 8, 9, they don't even include. I don't consider them Star Wars movies.
Are you even going to see Solo?
No, I
I
don't
don't
even
even
think
want to
so.
watch it.
As far as I'm considered, Return of the Jedi was the ending of the saga. That was the ending of the story. That was the perfect ending. It didn't have to be made after that.
You know, I started watching Revenge of the Sith the other day. I watched like the first half an hour. It was actually somewhat entertaining, but I mean, for us, it's our fifth favorite Star Wars movie. But you, if you understand what it is, you learn to appreciate it more. When we first saw it in the theater, and the ensuing time after, we wanted it to be like the original trilogy, and that's why it was disappointing. But if you watch it knowing beforehand that it's going to be goofy and it's not a very good movie, you just sit back and enjoy it. It's actually not god awful.
Oh yeah, once you take all the
Episode
hype
two
out of
is
it.
really bad, and episode one is not great. But episode three, outside the last 5 minutes, is not god awful. I mean, Grievous is kind of stupid.
I, I disagree. I like Grievous. I thought he was a funny bad guy.
If you're gonna give Grievous lightsabers, why don't you get all droids lightsabers?
No,
Why
I
don't the
think
battle droids go out there with lightsabers? You know how awesome that would have been in episode one?
that would have
If you
been
had the
really
whole
cool.
battle army and they have a gun in one hand and a
Right,
lightsaber in the other, and you see 10,000 droids with every single one of them has a lightsaber. That would have blown my mind.
right. I liked Grievous. I thought he was a pretty cool bad guy
But
for the movie.
I like how Rogue One though talked about the Kyber crystals. So
Oh
like
yeah,
that
yeah.
planet that got destroyed by the Death Star,
Jakku. No,
Jakku.
it wasn't
No, it
Jakku.
wasn't
That's
Jakku.
it was. I don't even remember the planet.
They had like a Jedi temple there, and that was where they mined the Kyber crystals and how they made lightsabers, and that's why lightsabers are rare is
Yeah.
because of the crystals. So they couldn't do that. I mean, the Trade Federation would have had to have a Kyber crystal for every droid,
Right.
so they couldn't
That'd
do
been
that. It's just that would have been outrageous. That would have been insane.
right.
But I don't. It's just I heard some parts of Han Solo sounded intriguing, but some parts are just dumb
Yeah.
that I heard. I mean, I didn't watch any of it, but it's like they have to explain everything, and it's just like you make it so lame. Like in a horror movie, like I've compared it on this channel before that things are much scarier when you don't explain it. So unless you have a movie like The Thing is the only exception to the rule where it's like, well, you don't show the monster, it's always scary. That's almost a cliche at this point, and don't explain things. But like John Carpenter's The Thing, he shows everything, but it's insane, and that's why it's awesome.
Yeah.
But like with The Shining, I've said this on his channel. Like I said, Stanley Kubrick's movie is better than Stephen King's novel, and it's because Stephen King explains everything, like the woman in the bathtub. He explains what happened to her, that she was an unhappy married woman. She was older. She brought a younger guy there to have a fling with. He basically ditched her, and she killed herself with pills in the bathtub.
Yeah, I
And
didn't
that
know
makes you
any about that.
well, that makes you
Anything about
feel
that.
sorry for her, and she's not scary anymore. Then you know what I mean?
Uh, I mean, I
Whereas
think
Stanley Kubrick's movie, you don't know what the fuck's going on. Shelley Duvall's running through the hotel. She's seeing a dude in a bear costume giving a blowjob, and like random things are happening, and it's scary as hell because you don't know what the hell's going on. But when you explain the backstory of everything, it doesn't make it as scary, at least for me. And that's the same with some of the things. Some of the things in the new trilogy need to be explained, like where the First Order came from and this and that. But some of the things don't need to be explained, like in Episode 3 or Solo. You don't need to tie it back to like in Force Awakens. We don't need to see his dice.
Yeah,
Who cares?
apparently they were in A New Hope, and I never even knew that.
Yeah, me too.
I've never seen those dice.
And nobody gives a shit about the dice.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it's a good luck charm. Yeah, it's a good luck charm for normal people in everyday life. Who cares? It's like in the Knights of Ren. I thought Knights of Ren was one of the most intriguing plot points of Force Awakens. And they don't even mention them in Last Jedi.
No, so apparently there are like other Kylo Rens out there, and we haven't even seen them yet.
But they were like Kylo Ren disciples that also went with him. Because remember when Luke said that he took some students with him?
Yeah.
But what happened to them? Where are they?
Yeah, why were they not around Snoke when Snoke was killed? Or why would they not want to help Kylo Ren kill Snoke?
Why did they just disappear? Where are they?
I guess they're just teasing them for Episode 9, but that I don't understand.
But then in Episode 9, they're going to be like, well, where were you?
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. Just dicking around.
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, they were on a mission.
Super important mission for
mission in the Outer Rim Galaxy.
It's like, what the fuck? It's like, we're about to destroy the whole Resistance. We got Supreme Leader Snoke here. We got the biggest Star Destroyer. We got the entire First Order. But you guys are out, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, the state of Star Wars is a sad, sad affair.
It really is.
All right. Well,
it's too bad, too.
It is too bad. Because we love Star Wars. And Empire Strikes Back is literally one of my favorite movies of all time.
You know, I actually kind of want to watch
Empire
Strikes Back right now.
I watch it a lot. So, we should watch it again soon.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do we could do a Does It Hold Up episode about Empire, but we already know it holds up. I just watched it like a couple weeks ago.
I kind of want
to actually see what a good Star Wars movie looks like. You know,
I wouldn't mind watching the original trilogy again.
It's good. It holds up. All three of them really do, and it's not just nostalgia. They're good movies. Jedi is clearly the worst one of the three, but it's still not a bad movie.
Yeah.
All three of them are good movies, and these are just not. They're garbage cash grabs.
Yeah.
And it makes Disney look out to be like the evil empire. Honestly. But, I mean, they've done wonderful things with Marvel, and they've done horrible things with Star Wars. I think that is not necessarily... It might not be reflective of Disney, though. We might be blaming the wrong person, because Kevin Feige might... the CEO of Marvel, might be the reason why Marvel's so great, and I think it is. And the reason why Star Wars is so terrible right now might be Kathleen Kennedy, the CEO of Lucasfilm.
It probably is.
And maybe Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney's, just kind of looking at the numbers and is not listening to the fans. I don't think it's his fault. I think it's more Kathleen Kennedy's fault. I think the reason why Marvel's so awesome is because Kevin Feige knows what the hell he's doing.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, Kathleen Kennedy's been around a long time. You would think she would know better. But she's whoring Star Wars out like it's a freaking, Vietnamese prostitute during Vietnam or something. I don't know. Anyways, I think that's about it right now.
It really is. It's a sad, sad world state that Star Wars is in, but
maybe we'll eventually watch Solo, and maybe once we watch Episode 9, maybe we'll come back with another episode of Nerdy and 30 at the State of Star Wars Revisited.
Who knows? Maybe Episode 9 actually turns out good.
Who knows? We'll see. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it for Episode 2 of Nerdy and 30, and we're signing off. This is Tony and Ryan.
All right. Night, guys.
And if you like what you hear, we got other videos on the channel, including the Movie Mouse series, and we're going to do another episode, Does It Hold Up? Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and you can find us on Twitter at Nerdy and 30. All right, guys. See ya.